Yo, it's Captain bringing you Demo Palooza Round 5 Steam Next Fest, where I'm going to play the demos. No, I already played them. I'm going to show you the gameplay of what I played, and I'm going to tell you about them so you don't have to play them yourself, or you could play them yourself if you want to. They're actually pretty good demos today, so... But I did it so you could find new stuff out and check it out. So that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to give too much Actually, I'll tell you what we played. We played Goblin Cleanup, which is a dungeon cleaning simulator with cute goblin girls. We played Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus, which is a metroidvania. Similar to Hollow Knight, that kind of style of metroidvania, but with a Japanese mythology inspired thing. And visuals. It's quite pretty. And we played Die in the Dungeon, which is a roguelike dice builder, not a deck builder, with a cute frog. And I thought all three of these pretty good. And there's a special shout out I'll give to one in the middle. I'll give an honorable mention to Quantum Cortex. I'll put that as the second one. All right, so those were our games today. Let's get into them. All right, let's start with the first one. The first one is Goblin Cleanup, developed by Crisalu Games, like Chris with an ALU, and published by the same Crisalu Games. It is, as I said, a dungeon cleaning simulator. Right, like it's like Power Wash or this cleans. I don't know what they call them. But there is cleaning ones like Viscera Cleanup, that kind of thing. It's that kind of style, except it's fantasy. It's fantasy dungeon. The concept is it is a dungeon, like it's the Dark Lord's dungeon, right? And the adventurers come in, and of course they don't win, because the Dark Lord's top tier. So they come in, they die in the traps, they try to, they get some loot, whatever, and and then they're done, and they've been killed. But somebody's got to clean up the dungeon before the next set of adventurers show up. So that's where we come in. And our cute goblin maids, you can see them running around. It is multiplayer. We actually did multiplayer on stream, which is pretty fun. It just handles it through Steam. It seems like you do need to change your Steam region if you're playing with people from across the world, or if you're not seeing any lobbies, you might try that. Just I forget how you do it in Steam, but it's something like some drop down somewhere, and then you just restart Steam, and then it works. I've had to do it for a couple of games, but yeah, as you can see, this game is not meant to be super serious. It's silly. It's fun. You stab a slime, a little squishy slime, and then you use him to collect blood until he dies, which made me sad. But then you feed him to the mimic, because that's what you do. That's your trash can, right? You feed it to the mimic. But if you get too close to the mimic, you get eaten. Because the traps don't just work on the adventurers, they work on you. And if you mess up, you'll just die in one hit. And then now there's more blood and meat bits to clean up that your friends have to, or you have to after a respawn. The little shrines to respawn have like pictures of dead maids and stuff. That was one we just saw there. You go pray at it, and there's like little pictures of dead maids, and you're like, oh no. And then yeah, you just the goal is to clean up everything in the level, set it all up back properly, and then go clock out, right? So there's a little timer at the top left that grades you, well, it's telling you how long your shift is. And then, right, based on how well you do, and I think maybe time, I'm not sure, but you'll get experience and tickets that you can use to unlock things. There does seem to be, oh no, the mimic is terrifying. There does seem to be like a customization thing. You can't get too close to the mimic, man. There does seem to be a customization. We didn't get to it in the demo. We just played the first level. Well, I guess I should explain the levels. So it seemed like you could pick from 5 dungeons, right? and those you could unlock with some of the tickets that you get. Now we only did like the first level because I'm just testing out demos on stream, but each dungeon had a bunch of levels. So we could start with the first dungeon, which is the Dark Lord's dungeon. Presumably the other one, like there was one that's like a ghost pirate. There was one that looked like an Egyptian theme. So presumably those are tile sets, the dungeons you could pick from. And then there's levels. So this was the entrance, level 1, and then after we beat level 1, we unlocked level 2 and 3, and it went all the way to level 12 of this particular dungeon, which was the throne room. So you could see how you kind of work through it. It seemed like other sorts of progression would be customization, character customization, because I did see a page where you could customize like your hair, and I think you don't even have to be a cute girl if you don't want. I couldn't change anything, but there was a slot for like, female, male. So presumably you could be a little goblin butler if you wanted. But it had like places for outfit and hair accessories and stuff. So presumably as you get further, or when you get to the real game, you can do character customization, which I think would be fantastic. I think this game is actually really fun. It's very goofy. It's very silly. I think it's a really good time with friends. I didn't play it alone. One of the folks I played with said they'd played it alone, and it wasn't as exciting. It was just kind of tedious. But I don't know. I think I'm sure I'm not saying they're wrong or anything, but I think even then it could be a pretty chill experience by yourself, just to come home and chill out and just slowly clean things. It's probably much more chore like and less silly and fun. But you'd slowly clean everything and get it done. So it was a really fun game. I had a good time with it. It was especially fun with other people, where you could get into some zany stuff. And that's pretty much it. That's the game. I'm gonna try not to ramble today. That's pretty much the game. I think you get it. I had a great time with it. So let me come back here. That was Goblin Cleanup, developed by Crisalu Games, and published by the same. All right, here we technically played 4 games today, but the second game we played, I want to talk about the second game. It's an honorable mention, okay? It's an honorable mention. I don't have any footage. It's Quantum Cortex, developed by QCDev, published by QCDev. I want to give it an honorable mention because the developer came into the stream and was like, "Hey, play my game," which happens when you're doing for Next Fest. I think it's all right. I've done it a couple times, and he asked us to play the game, so we played it, and I had a lot of technical issues with it. It was really rough. The visuals didn't work properly. It was really hard to get it going without it going wild or burning my card, or not actually melting my card, but running way. I had to turn it down. I had to move it. All the stuff you normally got to do when you start a game, but it was a little harder, right? It was harder than it should be. And when we finally got it running, it didn't the dev cracked up what is that? It's not supposed to look like that. So it didn't work. We did manage to play it, and it seems like it's supposed to be a momentum based Metroidvania. It's almost like you're playing Sonic or playing Metroid Pinball, but it's still a Metroidvania. And the movement, I like the concept. I like the idea of it. It was a little edgy for my taste, but I did like this kind of, momentum, almost like the Sonic Metroidvania, whereas regular Metroidvanias would be Mario's, right? It's almost like the Sonic. I thought that was cool. But I wanted to give it a shout out, even though it didn't work. I don't really want to show you anything from it because it's not going to do the game any favors to show you the footage that we got. But I wanted to give a shout out because the whole time the dev was really chill, really cool about rolling with the punches and how goofy the things were and weren't working, and just being cool and and just seemed like a stand-up kind of act. You know, it wasn't like touchy, didn't get freaked out or anything. It was just like, oh yeah, that's not supposed to, you know, ask me like, what's your video card? I'll see if I can fix it, stuff like that. So just for that, I wanted to give an honorable mention, a shout out to Quantum Cortex, developed by QCDev, QCDev, and published by QCDev. Same there. So there you go. That was our second game, but technically, right? I'm really gonna show 3 games today, but that was our bonus 4th game. Just as a honorable mention. I'll put the links down in the description as well if you want to go check it out. Maybe it'll run better for you. Okay, so that brings us to our third game. Their third game, which is Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus, which I had heard was good, and I was looking forward to playing. And I was not disappointed. It is a Metroidvania in the style of what I would say Hollow Knight, that kind of style, where you can heal yourself, you know, with the energy that you're getting from hitting things. You can, I don't know if it's like super open world exploration like Hollow Knight, where it doesn't hold your hand very much, and you got this big world to do. Because I didn't play it that long, you know, it takes a long time to determine that kind of stuff. But as far as like, it looks gorgeous, it feels good, and it seems like you have some equipables. You can pogo around. It's just right. It seems like, you know, it seems like the Japanese mythology version of that style of Metroidvania. I say Hollow Knight just because it's very popular. So if you're into Metroidvanias, you kind of know, you know, what to expect there. This one did seem to have a lot more story going on. You meet like a fox spirit, and he's trying to help you out and teach you how it all works. You are also a little spirit, a little kami, I guess. I don't know. I don't know all the words. I am uncultured. But I do know how beautiful this game was. This game is. The sound design is really nice. Like when the NPCs are speaking, it's not voice acted, but they play like, you know, like a little lute or something that sounds traditionally Japanese. You can do these cool pogos. What I liked about this pogo was you don't just bounce up. If you hit anything, you see your character glows. You get your jump back. So you could even hit something above you and then jump, and then hit it again and then jump, and now you're above it. So now you can, you know, bounce on it and do a pogo like you would expect if you've played games like Hollow Knight or games that have pogos. But you see, you can also just travel straight up, and it's a little tricky to like wrap your fingers around it and get used to it, but it is pretty satisfying. Like I could sit there next to one of those lanterns and just, you know, attack, jump, and kind of just float there while attacking it, and it's really neat. So this is some exploration. I also have like a little boss gameplay. I might not have much to say about this one because it's almost just what you expect. It's just really good. It feels good. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you the boss fight. It's like a little mini boss we did. I'll show you that too, because I think that'll give you a good picture of what I'm talking about here. But I really, you know what? It was recommended, and they were not wrong. It just felt really polished. Oh, I should tell you, it's developed by Squid Studios, Christopher Stair, and Trevor Youngquist, published by Humble Games. And usually Humble Games feel pretty good, have a high level of polish, and this is in the same vein. It's quite nice. I had a really good time with it. You know, it's one of those that I could play for the whole next fest, you know, until you get done with the demo. Those Metroidvanias, they're usually pretty big, and you can have a fun time playing with them. But you know, you got to move on. It's like, all right, I figured out this game's good. It's fun, and and I can go on. We had like a cool mechanic. You see those green things to the right? You won't see the end of the boss fight. Probably. I don't know how long I'll talk. But we had like a cool mechanic where you could bat little armadillos into them, which was cool. So you get upgrades, you get different kinds of abilities and weapons and stuff. I mean, it's a Metroidvania. That's how they work. But I don't know. It was It looks like it's going to be a great one, and it feels like it's going to be a great one. So based on, you know, the first little bit of gameplay, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it comes out in July, like a month. So one to keep an eye on for me. But yeah, it looks great. I had a good time with it. All right, let's move on. I guess you did see me beat it. Let's move on. So that was the third game. That was Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus. Got a little hyphen over the O, a little line over the O. Developed by Squid Studios, Christopher Stair, and Trevor Youngquist, and published by Humble Games. All right, that brings us to our fourth one, our fourth and final one. And I'm going to be honest with you, I like this one too. It was really a good day for demos. So this is, there we go. This is Die in the Dungeon. And die is a pun. Oh, hold on. I think I brought the wrong video up. Good job, Captain. I'm sorry. I mean, that's relevant. I mean, that's still the same game. But it's like me fumbling around in the menus. So this is Die in the Dungeon. It is developed by ATICO, ATICO. Could be, I don't know how to say it. And it's published by HypeTrain Digital. It is a roguelike dungeon crawler. I guess you got to see for a second there. It's one of those path styles where you do like a little thing and then you go on the path. You're like working on a board. Some of them are fights like this. Some of them are events or whatever. I figured I'd show you that after we got through the fight, but I messed up and you got to see it first. So, but as you can see, you don't play cards. You roll your dice and then you put your dice on the board and the dice interact with each other. The dice have special effects and the dice do different things, like some of them attack, some of them block, some of them boost other dice, some of them what was like another cool thing we did? I don't know. Those are the main ones. There was all sorts of stuff. Like one of them like mirrored. It was like whichever dice is this far away, it'll just copy it. You know, one of them was like a poison die. And as we kept playing, we kept finding more dice and more interesting things. So as you can see, they play with this board. You know, certain enemies are gonna like block stuff, so now you can't put your dice there. You know, and so you're trying to come up with combos. One of them did like a splash damage. There was neat things too. As you progressed, you got benefits. Some of the like little wins you would get would let you redistribute the numbers on your die. So you might have a 0, 1, 1, 2, you know, the four faces of the die. And it's like, all right, well, you can move them around. So you could take one away from the 2 and put it on the 0. So you could have 4 1s. You know, you could take the 2 away from the 1s and stuff them all in the 2, and you'd have 0, 0, 0, 4. And you'd have like a die that didn't work most of the time, but when it did, it was really strong. And there was ways where you could like spend some resources to re-roll dies. You know, you had relics and artifacts that you would get. It's similar to like Slay the Spire, that kind of thing, where you know you've got your deck, but then you've got, you know, these artifacts on top of it that also modify some of the way your deck works. And so you could get some really interesting combos there, which like maybe let you reroll everything, or maybe it would affect the die in some way, you know. But you could do some fun stuff. We had one. There was a shop you could buy certain things, and it would let you add modifiers to your dice, to certain die. So you can kind of build up like one die and do some really crazy stuff with it, and then hope you get it. You know what I mean? Maybe it like rolls 0 all the time, but then it has like a 5 on it, and so you just like burning all your resources to re-roll it and try to get that 5 and do like a big number. The boost die were really interesting. They boosted any dies that were a certain number away from them, you know, whatever number they rolled. So then you could like layer them up and put like a big attack in one. It was really interesting. It was really creative. The more I played, the more fun stuff I could see that they were setting up with the die or with the dice. I'm never going to know which one to use here. And I don't know. I had a really good time doing it. We saw some enemies that, you know, they can have multiple enemies, and you got to like do a strategy. Which one are you going to attack? You know, one of them, like, there was like a turtle that if it died, it would interrupt any other enemies. And so you're like, all right, well, should I try to kill it this turn and then I'll live? You know, this guy won't attack me. I had to do one where it's like, all right, I want to go all out offense. It's like, oh, but they're going to kill me next turn. Because they tell you what the enemy's going to do. It shows you like what damage they're going to do next turn. So you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to need to do something else. I'm going to need a block, you know. I'm going to need to have a different strategy. So there was a lot of fun strategy. There were things like, you know, after you roll 4 die, it does another damage, which I think is really fun for a little... I don't know, I kind of like dice roguelikes. I don't really like deck builders. It's just, I'm not a big fan of cards. I don't know why. It's not that they're bad. It's not that I don't have a good time with them when I do play them. It's just, it's not a thing for me. In cards and making decks is just not my deal. But the dice are fun. I don't know. I like dice for some reason. It's totally superficial, but I do enjoy them. So this is kind of the board. This is right at the beginning. I'm still trying to figure out how the board works, to be honest. But you do have to stop at the battles, the big red line, and then you can continue on. It's actually asking me to pick up or down, and I don't figure it out for like 20 minutes. There we go. There we go. All right, we figured it out. So then you go to, like, it has a campfire, right? And you can heal, or you can redistribute some dice back, right? So there's some interesting stuff to do. There's shops. There's shops that things land on. There's health tiles land on. There's events where it gives you like a little RP thing, and it's like, all right, if you pick this option, you can get this relic. If you pick this option, you can get this other relic, but you lose 9 health. You know, it's stuff like that. So it had a lot of fun things. It looked good. It presented good. I couldn't figure out how to get my controller to work, but on the Steam page it does say it has controller support, and it really seems like it should and could have controller support. So I'm going to chalk that up on me. But just, I figured I'd let you know because I did have trouble with that. But I had a really good time with this game. Me and roguelikes don't always get along, but this one, it seemed like a good time. I could see, you know, having some fun with it and trying to make like a cool set of dice and just enjoy them and see how far they could go. All right, like I said, I'm not gonna waffle. I'm gonna bring you back. So that was Die in the Dungeon, developer ATICO, and published by HypeTrain Digital. And those are our 3+1 games that we did today. I actually, all the ones that worked, I really enjoyed. I think they were all a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with the demos today. I was glad I got to play them. So hopefully you saw something interesting that, you know, made you think, oh, that seems cool, or just reinvigorated your faith in video games. Even if it's not, you know, even if you're not going to jump out and play it. But you could jump out and play it. It is, Next Fest is live through this weekend, and it's kind of getting late in the weekend if you're watching this like right when it's going out. But it's still going. So what is the dates? Monday the 17th at noon, at least Central Time in America here, is when it stops. So you've got like, I don't know, like a day. So go out there and play all the demos you can. I love Next Fest. It's amazing. I'm so glad we got to play so many demos. I'm hoping to get another day and play some more. And I know I will leave demos on the table where I didn't get to them and I really wanted to, because that happens to me every Next Fest. I love them all. I love the ones we played today. Just as a reminder, we played Goblin Cleanup, where we got to clean up the dungeons after the adventurers failed. We played a special shout out to Quantum Cortex, which didn't work for me, but we did play it. And the dev was cool about it. Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, which was a beautiful metroidvania based on Japanese mythology. And Die in the Dungeon, which you just saw, which is a roguelike dice builder with a Q frog. All right, but that's it. That's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and a lovely weekend and a good rest of your Next Fest. And I'll see you around and catch you the next one. Goodbye.